I'm always receiving this argument. Man, the media is so left-wing. I open up the Channel 7 newspapers, it's like I'm reading the fucking communist newspapers, bruh. They support sword fight marriage. Stalin might be dead, but his ideas live on. Milo Yiannopoulos now supports gay marriage. Is he left-wing? If that's the case, and I'm so sick of hearing this word, but yes. The media is so fucking right-wing. Like the Telegraph literally said that you can vote no and not be a homophobe. Here we go. It
Please don't say it.
is. At least don't say literally. Literally.
Enough! I feel like an eastern suburbs mum whose life is fine but is constantly saying, I just can't handle the stress anymore. Just because the media focuses 99% of its mind-numbing coverage on dumb, inflammatory, primary school level arguments like girls are better than boys, or come on, how's she the Muslims? Doesn't mean it matters at all whether or not a news outlet has a left or right-wing bias, because they cover what is very technically referred to as trash. Newspapers and corporate hipster diarrhea masquerading as newspapers do a hell of a lot of reporting on Don Burke might have asked, do you do anal 2 decades ago? Pol potting mix. But you know what the media doesn't do a lot of reporting on? Things that matter. Things that could affect, to quote that Jebediah Springfield historian, you and your children and your children's children. I feel like one of those old guys who claims he's seen a Tasmanian tiger when the media bothers to report on something that actually affects the quality of people's lives. Here I was, Saturday morning in the airport, went like a flash. Gonski 2.0, right on the fucking daily. Yeah, as quickly as it came. It's gone, mate.
Yeah, whatever, you just saw a dog, Kearney.
Don't tell me what I fucking seen, it wasn't a fucking dog.
Gonski 2.0 being the Liberals' genius marketing ploy as it makes people think,
Wow, 2.0? Well, just like Jaws 2, it must be new and improved.
but link below, it's not. Gonski 2.0 is the new Coke of policy. Everyone would agree if they knew what was in it. Bring back Coke Classic. Except the media. They like new Coke. Summed up best by the Sydney Morning Herald, who according to guys online that are always flexing with the Australian flag in the background is
So left-wing that it supported Tony Abbott in 2013 and almost always supports the Liberal Party in every election. But it doesn't like Pauline Hanson, so Marxism.
They, along with all the other media outlets in the country, gave Gonski 2.0 glowing reviews. Well, for a day. Then they went back to the much more pressing question of whether or not Australia thinks man bum bum sex is festy. A fucking survey got 30 times more coverage than the Liberals cutting 2/3 of the Gonski funding, and of the piddly third that's left, 2/3 of that is now going to private schools.
Well, yes to that too then. I don't know why. I'm just in such a yes mood.
I know why. Perfectly exemplified by the news organisation that makes the rest of the dried up dog shit media in this country look like a Milky Way bar, BuzzFeed, when earlier this year Streets Ice Cream attempted to halve its staff's wages, which thanks to the Liberals is like chicks dyeing their hair pastel colours. Everyone's doing it! What happened to the workers at Streets Ice Cream could now happen to anyone on a wage, and BuzzFeed refused to report on it because Streets Ice Cream sponsors BuzzFeed. Think about how amoral these testosterone-depraved golems must be when they willingly and consistently withhold information of that magnitude from their readers for money.
Well, if I don't get properly functioning testicles, they don't get properly functioning news.
I have a friend who works for an advertising agency that was in a meeting with the head of some other piece of shit news site that thinks,
Well, we have higher journalistic standards than BuzzFeed, okay? Because we talk about please like me more.
they said to a potential advertiser that was a property developer,
Okay, so like, we know that you like the policies that keep housing expensive, like capital gains, negative gearing, those things in place, yeah? So how about we just pretend they don't exist? Do you get me?
yeah, it's not a difficult point to grasp.
Okay, well, that's good. Because I'm thinking that we not tell our audience that they could easily vote out the party that's keeping them in and just have a lull at the fact that they can't afford a house. That's funny. We'll mention smashed avocado. Show them we're on their side. That joke's still got mileage. Do sponsored articles with us where you tell them how they can save for a house. Then you look like the saviours.
Awesome, love it. Just so you know, I don't think they can actually save for a house though.
Yeah, but they don't know that. Do you follow me?
Yep, I understand that everyone in Surrey Hills thinks that them explaining how to market cool shoes to under 30-year-olds is one down from Stephen Hawking explaining wormholes, but you drinking coffee and talking to people for a living doesn't make you an intellectual, it makes you a societal cancer.
Okay. Well, just so we're on the same page.
Now go back and look at the very superficial coverage most media outlets give to housing affordability, and then look at their sponsors. Do you see what's happening here? The news isn't even trying to inform you. You are a fucking metric to them that they then sell on to advertisers who profit from stripping you of your rights and poisoning the environment. Just like it was obvious in the Soviet Union that all information outlets were propaganda for the Communist Party, ours are just propaganda for Caltex. They are actively attempting to misdirect and divide you with stupid culture war shit to benefit their sponsors.
Well, I feel a bit silly saying this as a journalist, but newsflash, all media outlets have advertising, okay? So stop picking on us journalists, we're just trying to make a living.
Then go be a gardener, you evil cunt. Most media is entertainment. Its message is, imagine if you won the lotto, but you're also a lib. Meet the Habibs, bros. The message of the news is,
This just in, you should vote in the same interests as multi-billion-dollar companies because I swear to God, they have the same interests as Tegan who works at Keno.
so stop bickering over which news outlets have a left or right-wing bias when it doesn't matter when all of them have a corporate bias. It is far more sinister that the quote-unquote left-leaning SBS Viceland and the quote-unquote right-leaning Sky News invent bullshit controversies so they have superficial points of differentiation, when in reality they're both extremely pro-big business and extremely anti-population. They are both corporate propaganda, to which I know some obnoxious woman in her 40s who lives in Melbourne with curly hair eating a cheese platter will say,
Well, thank God for the ABC, because it is the exact opposite of being biased, isn't it? Isn't it the exact opposite?
yeah, in the most autistic way you can possibly measure bias, in that it sits there with a stopwatch mumbling,
Debate is climate change, 2 minutes. Labour Party talk now. Kmart sucks.
Well, the Liberal Party's policy on climate change is not decreasing emissions, it's increasing them. We have the stats with us today.
2 minutes. Liberal Party talk now. Qantas never crashed.
Well, the Labor Party's been running this line for 2 years now. It is decreasing.
I'm sorry, where's your stats for that, mate?
No, Labour's true. Liberal Party talk for 2 minutes.
Well, you can get stats from anywhere. The question is, where'd you get them from? And Labor clearly got theirs from some lefty journal like a Green Left Weekly or Karl Stefanovic. Or should I say Karl Marxinovic?
Well, first off, Kerry, Karl Marxinovic. What's the matter with Kerry?
You had your 2 minutes, and now he's upset.
giving equal airtime, regardless of how ridiculous and riddled with fallacy one side of the argument is, gives off the illusion that both sides are mainstream arguments with valid points, leaving the audience to think,
Well, now I just don't know what to believe. I mean, I always thought midgets were shorter than the average sized person, but maybe Sanders' little helper's right. Maybe it is just an optical illusion.
but when the major parties' policies are isolated and properly explained, which often doesn't happen in this country because that would be this crazy foreign concept called journalism, the Liberal Party's policies aren't polarising, they're fringe. Most are likely to receive a 30% approval rating, but when I go on wanting to discuss subjects that get a 70 to 80% approval rating, really radical far-out ideas like maybe we shouldn't defund our hospitals by $50 billion to give the wealthiest corporations in the country a $50 billion tax cut, i.e. the overwhelming opinion of the people that pay the ABC's fucking salary, I'm considered fringe. I'm heavily edited. I'm told it's not up for discussion. So yeah, the ABC isn't biased in what it covers. The problem is they choose not to cover things that make their sugar daddy look bad. Remember when the ABC broke the shocking news that unions might be rife with criminality? Their frame was,
Well, we're just asking some questions. We're giving the unions a chance to respond.
but what do you think the net effect was of them probing for months on end?
Mr. Ferguson, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How many thugs are in your organisation?
How many times do I have to tell you this, Lee? None.
I don't think you've answered my question. Is your organisation filled with thugs?
None.
Alright, we're just asking questions. Jeez, what a thug. People started to think,
It must be full of thugs. Why else would they keep asking that?
but when it turned out that the unions are the least corrupt set of organisations in the country, as in the entire movement, they had as many criminals as the ABC has good comedians, one, the ABC's response was,
How about that? Now into something we don't talk about much on the ABC, cyberbullying.
oh, you want to raise awareness for bullying? The media corporation that dragged the union's name through the mud for months, their public approval rating being permanently and significantly damaged, leading to an even weaker union movement, and all you smug careerist leeches at the ABC had to say at the end of it was,
The Royal Commission was a beat-up, who knew? Now to finance.
you did. From day one, anyone who looked into the Royal Commission could see it was a sham, but you weren't covering it to discover the truth. You were covering it to show the Liberal Party that
News at the top of the hour, and we at the ABC are good little doggies that can play ball with the coalition as we threw one of your political enemies right under the bus so we could keep our job. Now, Peter, would you say that we're the height of morality?
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yes, I would say that, Lee.
So to anyone who tells me,
Well, it has its problems, but at least it's better than the alternative.
wow, it's better than a current affair, high bar.
Well, it's not propaganda for Caltex.
It might not directly be propaganda for Caltex, but it's sure as fuck propaganda for the coalition, meaning it's propaganda for Caltex. Australia's lack of a climate policy, the ABCC, Australia's NBN, the reasons for wage stagnation. I mean, for fuck's sake, their CEO is a former Rupert Murdoch board member and their board is littered with card-carrying liberals. So don't tell me that the ABC are left-wing scum. They're just plain scum. Opportunists who, if you go frame by frame on their faces, you'll notice that
There's not a single millisecond where they don't look smug.
scratching each other's backs as they allow blue-collar workers to die from the Australian Building and Construction Commission while growing fat off those same workers' paychecks, which they then use to put their obnoxious brat kids through private schools, who then, most egregiously of all, grow up to use more of our tax dollars to produce shit comedy shows that no one watches. I don't know what's worse. The fact that I'm forced to pay for establishment propaganda that works against my interests, or the fact that I'm forced to pay for fucking Get Kraken. Am I saying the ABC should be privatised? No. But I am saying when the Labor Party's elected, they should cut a third of its funding to scare the living shit out of it. This is not your ABC. This is how removed you are. They don't even let you comment on their shitty videos on YouTube. Fuck you. You're making me pay for your worthless existence against my will. I should be able to verbally abuse you as much as I want.
Well, it's because of this new trend on the net where people post purposefully mean comments. They're calling it cyberbullying.
Welcome to the internet, you cunt. The comment section of any video is always absolute leukemia. If I don't get 5 death threats a day, I think.
Oh my god. Am I losing relevance?
But we keep it open. You know why? Because unlike the disgusting mole lizard benefactors of nepotism at the ABC, we weren't constantly told by our mums,
Dom, listen to mummy. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you're not amazing. Okay, Mama.
so stop pretending you're working so hard for our 14 cents a day. The ABC, with very few exceptions, are a bunch of smug elites whose attitude is captured perfectly by a conversation my friend overheard a very well-known journalist have with her daughter where she said,
Cassandra, no. Listen to me, Cassandra, you little bitch. If you don't start behaving at Ascom, I will pull you right out of there and put you in Randwick Girls,
quote,
See how much you learned there.
they use public school on their kids as a threat? No wonder they don't give a fuck about Gonski. No wonder they're perfectly happy to sit there night after night mentally masturbating like it's a news version of QI, discussing bullshit bourgeois concerns like,
Tonight on the Pecksniffian Weekly, female CEOs, strong, sassy, seriously underrepresented. We want to know why.
while the Liberal Party privatises the domestic violence hotline and they don't say boo, because the ABC doesn't care about the people that pay their salary, they just care about their fucking salary. Which reminds me, can I have some money? Please, I needed to pay my staff salary. Cue Hudson Mohawk music. As always, massive thank you to the Patreon donors we already have. Your contribution has allowed us to increase youth voter registration more than anyone else did last election, get people to join their unions, green groups, boycott exploitative companies, and most satisfyingly of all, take seats away from the Liberals. But in 2018, I want to be able to hire on an additional researcher and writer to keep track of the lies and misdirection of the mainstream media, because people need to stop thinking.
I'm just gonna say it, guilty pleasure, but I watch Fox News for comedy.
Watch all of it for comedy. I have a dream to hear the generation below us say, coming up on ABC, it's the 7 o'clock news.
The most hilarious show in television, alright.
Followed by ABC's Comedy Wednesdays. Just like our big business pays for media so it gets media working for them, if you pay for media, you get media working for you. I know it sucks. Personally, I just prefer to make videos about how hilarious Schoolies is, but we cannot let the media get away with continuously distracting us over a gay guy that disagrees with other gay guys. On the issues that actually matter, 70 to 80% of the public is on the same page. It's just that thanks to this thick layer of scum, they don't know about it. So chuck a few bucks a month away of the most reliable antidote to that there is. A man who continuously dresses like a woman, repeatedly screams obnoxious phrases that make the neighbours think,
Rachel, come here. Do you think he's disabled?
2 of my neighbours have told me they thought that, so come on, let's go for 3. Become a Patreon member today because remember,
You are the resistance.
Isn't that nice? Good for Yori.
It's doing it again. Fucking transvestite.
Please press the subscribe button now. Come on.
Next.